Hello everyone, welcome back. I've got another camera here. This is a Konica C35 AF, which I picked up last week in an online sale. It's still in its original case, as you see. The case is in really good condition, apart from some dirt here and there, which needs to be cleaned. But yeah, as you see, it's in really great condition, the case. But obviously, yeah, let's have a look at the camera itself. See, so this is the camera. It's a, as I said, Konica C35 AF, and it's a point and shoot camera released in 1977. And what is so special about it is that it has an autofocus system, and it's the first autofocus camera ever released for the general public. Now let me remove also the bottom part of the case here. So yeah, I have been wanting to buy a point and shoot camera already for a while, and this one popped up in an auction. Well, not an auction, just an online sale. The price was alright, so I picked it up. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work as it should, but more on that later in the video. Now, what is so nice about this camera is that it is basically an all-in-one point and shoot camera. It has a automatic focus, it has an automatic metering system, and it has a built-in electronic flash. So yeah, for the time when this was released, end of the 70s, this was truly revolutionary. Now, how this camera came to be? Well, Konica launched the original C35 in 1968, which was a rangefinder camera. A really simple, small, nice rangefinder, and that's where this camera borrows its name from. So the C35 line stands for compact 35mm cameras. And even though at first sight they don't look that similar, you can clearly see that there is a similarity here in the lens. So the lens is basically the same one. It's a Konica Hexanon 38mm f2.8 lens, and it has here the ISO setting in as a ring here in the middle, so you can change the ISO of the film over, like this. And this is basically unchanged since the release of the C35. Then in 1975, Konica released the C35 EF, where EF stands for electronic flash. And as you see, yeah, the body design is already very similar to this one over here. You also have the flash here on the right, which you can activate by popping up the flash. And yeah, the body is the same, the rewind knob, the shutter release, the film advance lever, they are all in the same place. The only big difference obviously is here the autofocus system, and also the lens mount, which is sticking out a bit further here. But for the rest, they have almost an identical body. So that's where really Konica built further on the design of the C35 EF when designing this camera. So then in end of 1977, they released here the C35 AF, and the AF stands for autofocus. So it basically adds an autofocus mechanism to the EF version of the C35. And at that time, this was really revolutionary, because in the end of the 70s, there was really a war going on, or a revolution going on in point and shoot cameras, and they really wanted to make life as easy as possible for the consumer. So all brands were basically fighting for to introduce an autofocus system, and Konica really won the war, and they were the first ones to release an autofocus on a really small point and shoot camera, which is really remarkable for that time. The fact that you can build in an autofocus system in such a small device in 1977, it's quite remarkable. Even though now these days it might, yeah, the first time I got my hands on this camera, it really looked a lot bigger than I was expecting. but for that time it was really quite small. If with the batteries included, it's also rather heavy, so just popping it inside your back pocket or your vest pocket, it will not be easy. Now let's go over the functions of the camera quickly. Now this is going to be really simple because it's a really simple camera and you don't have a lot of adjustments that you can make. The only thing which you can basically adjust is here the ISO setting. So like this, which I already showed you, and you can choose if you enable the flash or not. That's it. Here on top you have the rewind knob, you have the film advance, and you have the shutter release, and then you here have an indicator which tells you when the flash is ready. On the back you obviously have the film door, really simple, nothing to see here. On the bottom you have the battery compartment, you have a tripod hole, and the release button to rewind the film. Now the tripod hole isn't that useful because the camera doesn't have a self timer and it also doesn't support long shutter speeds. So yeah, the only usefulness is if you want to take a selfie and you have a remote, a wired remote shutter release. So then you can use the tripod hole and obviously also to mount the casing here, but that's basically it. That's all the adjustments that you have. You cannot focus manually. You cannot set any shutter speed, any aperture manually. The only feedback that you have here is this dial. Let me show you. So this indicator over here tells you the focusing distance of the last shot that you took. So you can only see the distance that the camera focused after you've taken the picture, which is not really convenient because yeah, you'll first have to take the shot and then you'll notice, oh, maybe the camera hasn't focused correctly, so you'll have to retake it. But hey, it's the first autofocus camera ever, so it's gonna have some quirks. And there is also in the viewfinder here is a warning LED which should light up when to warn you of underexposure. So it basically tells you when to enable the flash. Now, what is not working on this camera? Basically, the autofocus isn't. Whatever you do, it'll always autofocus on the shortest distance. So here 1.1 meter. So you have here the indicator of the focusing distance. When you advance the film, you see that the indicator moves off the dial. And then when you shoot, it should normally indicate the distance that the camera focused. But as you see here, it doesn't matter where I point it, even if let me point it outside the window. See, it also always focuses here at the shortest distance, which is normally the behavior you'd expect if there are no batteries inside. But yeah, it means that the focusing mechanism isn't working or that the camera isn't activating as it should. Also, the low light indicator, which I just mentioned, is also not working. So even if you hold your hand in front of the lens, it doesn't work. What is working, however, is the flash. See, so if I pop up the flash and I wait a second, then, or a couple of seconds, so you see here the indicator is lighting up, and if I now fire the shutter, maybe. See, that's working as it should. So the camera is not completely dead, but the focusing mechanism isn't working at all. Now that's really a pity because the seller originally didn't mention anything about the camera not working as it should. So I bought it with the expectation that it would work. Yeah, so maybe we can fix it, maybe not. Let's see. It's a bit of a bummer, but okay, I didn't pay that much money for the camera. Apart from that, cosmetically, it's in great shape. I mean, it really looks like new almost. The only thing you have here is, there is a bit of glue here or something, so it needs a bit of cleaning. But that's basically it. Also, the lens, it's near damn perfect. I mean, I cannot see any scratches or any dirt or anything. So, it's a pity that it doesn't work. But yeah, I will do an attempt to fix it, but I don't have a lot of hope. Another quite funny thing was when I received the camera, I noticed that the film counter was set to 24, not to start. And when I advanced the film or the camera, I could notice that here the rewind knob was turning. So there was still a film inside. And the camera wasn't opened because otherwise the film counter would have been set to start. So yeah, I decided to just, as a way of testing the camera, to just shoot the remainder frames of the film. So I just made some test shots, some nearby, some further away, some with flash, some without flash, and that's when I noticed that the autofocus wasn't working, that it was always focusing on the shortest distance. So yeah, the film that came out in the end was a Kodak Gold 200. So I dropped off the film to have it developed, and I just got the results here. So yeah, let's scan in the film and see what's on it. I'm really excited to see. And what is mainly exciting to see if the pictures are going to be in focus, because I want to know, was the camera already broken or did it break down only when I started using it, or maybe during transport or whatever. So yeah, that we'll see. So yeah, let me scan in the shots and then we will see what comes out. Okay, so this is the first picture that I got out of the roll. And as I said, these pictures, they were taken by the previous owner of the camera. And actually, I really like this one. It's maybe the best one of the entire roll. The lighting is really nice. Yeah, it's also the subject here, this person on the left, is really sharp. Now, I do think that this was by accident, because if I look at the later pictures of the roll, I think it's pretty clear that the camera was already broken at the time that these shots were taken. So here in this case, probably they just had a bit of luck, because this person here is sitting quite close to the camera and it's inside the focusing range. Also, there is quite a lot of light here, I guess. So this means that the camera probably will have stopped down to the smallest aperture, also creating quite a large depth of field, also giving you more of a chance that your subject will be in focus. So yeah, this turned out pretty well here. This one here at first sight might look in focus, but it's not really in focus. Not really focused on infinity. So this is a mosque here and it's not really sharp in the distance. Also lots of light, so it's not really sharp, but it's still acceptable, probably because of the huge depth of field that you have if you stop down to a really small aperture. So based on this image, which I searched via Google Lens, I found out that this is a mosque located in a Spanish town of Fuengirola at the Costa del Sol. And all of these pictures were taken over there, I think. This one here, same place, same town, and here you can also clearly see that the camera has not really focused into infinity. I mean, This is a pretty straightforward scene with this castle in the mountains, and there is really no excuse for the camera not to focus to infinity. I mean, there is no object nearby. It's not a difficult scene to focus. So yeah, it's pretty obvious that the camera was already broken at the time. Same for this shot over here of the sea. Also, it's a really easy scene to focus, but it's not focused at all. The fact that it's still acceptable or not completely blurry is again, I think, to the small aperture that was selected when this shot was taken. Here you can clearly see it in this scene of this street where yeah, there is a lot less light, so the camera will have used the larger aperture where you can clearly see that the focus is not there. There is also not really any object nearby which could have confused the autofocus system, so yeah, it's just the camera wasn't focusing. It's pretty obvious. This picture here of the tree with the oranges is in focus, probably also because the tree is quite close to the camera here. So this picture is the first one of the roll that I took, and it was taken with the flash. So you notice the flash is working as it should. And it's quite okay, but it's also not completely correctly focused. And you'll notice that when you view it on 100%, then you'll see that it's just slightly off, but it's very acceptable. This one is probably the best one that I took in terms of sharpness, not in terms of subject. Well, it depends on obviously on what you like in photography, but well, this is probably exactly the right focusing distance. Everything is really sharp here, and it shows you really what the lens can do. And also probably because of the flash, the aperture was also stopped down quite heavily, which also is giving you a lot of room to focus decently. But this one over here, taken without a flash from the other side of the room, or from let's say 2-3 meters away, where there was not a lot of light, so the camera was probably wide open. Yeah, it's completely out of focus. This is me in the mirror, and there you can clearly see that the flash is working. And this one is also pretty sharp. So again, the flash probably causing the aperture to be stopped down, and also an object which is close by. Yeah. Here you can see clearly that the camera is not focusing to infinity. This was taken on a gray day, so probably not a lot of light, if not enough light for the camera to decide to stop down the aperture all the way. And then you get this, obviously, you focus close by, but there is nothing close by in the scene, so everything is blurry. That's about it for the pictures I selected, because yeah, there are like 36 pictures on the roll. I'm not going to show all of them, just a couple of highlights to give you an idea of what, how the camera is behaving at the moment. And it's clear that that it's not working as it should. So maybe let's take it into the workshop. Okay, let's see if we can do something about it. Now, before I start, there is an important disclaimer, and that is I am not a camera technician at all. I don't have a lot of experience in repairing cameras. Yeah, and it's also really a craft in itself, so I'm not an expert at this at all. If you be aware that if you're going to try to repair your camera, be ready to screw it up completely. So if it's a valuable camera, I would anyway suggest you drop it off at a qualified technician. This is not really a valuable camera, and it's quite a simple one. So I'm going to try and open it up and see if I can find something easy fixable, or something which is clearly wrong and which I can fix myself. Chances are pretty low, and I don't think I will be able to fix it, but hey, we're gonna try anyway. Now, I didn't find the service manual, which is as expected, because on cameras it's almost impossible to find a service manual. But I did find here this repair guide, where they give quite a bit of hints and tips on how you can adjust and repair the camera. Things that you can measure, like voltages and these kind of things. That's already quite nice. I can use it as a sort of inspiration maybe to see if I can find something wrong. But yeah, it doesn't say a lot on disassembly and assembly, so I will have to figure it out myself on the go. There are some, like here, disassembly highlights, but yeah, they are not really well detailed. So I'll have to figure out it myself on how to proceed here. Now, what I always do if I'm working on a camera is I organize the screws that I take out really in order and by section, because cameras typically have lots and lots of different types of screws and springs and small parts, so it's important to keep a good organization of everything that you are dismantling. So I think I'm gonna start by opening up the bottom plate here, because I know that the flash capacitor is here in the bottom plate, underneath the bottom plate, and then we can discharge the flash capacitor first before we continue working on the camera. So I'm first gonna take out the batteries. Yeah, let's see, we have a couple of screws here. I think we have 1, 2, and then here on the sides only one. Can't see another one. Yeah, let's start by doing that. These types of screws, when you take them out, always be very careful, because if you slip, then you scratch the body. So yeah, it's a general remark when dismantling a camera. Be careful with screws on the outside. See, they are really small. And see, they are already different in size. So the two larger ones are from the bottom and the smaller one is from the side. So pay attention if you are disassembling a camera. There are lots and lots of different types of screws, and keep them clearly organized. Yeah, there is another one. It's again a larger one. Alright, so you take out the screws. My here battery compartment door already fell out, so that's not an issue anymore. But here there is a small clip, so you can just with a screwdriver push in here to get it loose over there, and then the entire section should come loose. Well, at least that's my idea, but maybe not everything. I guess there are also some clips over there, but I can't, yeah. But here there is definitely something stuck here. I think I can see some glue in there or something, so maybe that's the problem why it's not loosening. Let's just try to pry it or break the seal a bit. Ugh, this is really stuck, and I can see the flash capacitor, but I'm afraid to put too much pressure on it because this end plate is plastic. It looks like metal, and it feels also slightly like metal, but it's plastic. Aha, so it was just a piece of glue. See? Alright, so we have the flash capacitor here. Yeah, see, we have the flash capacitor over here, and I know it's not a good habit what I'm gonna do to discharge it. Here you have the two connections. What you should do is you should connect them with using a resistor, but yeah, maybe it's the best way to do it. Just let me get a resistor. Alright, so I got the resistor over here. Let's try to short it out the way you should. So pay attention that you don't short it out through the chassis, because the entire intention here is to discharge the capacitor without having the current or the spike go through the chassis, so that we don't damage anything of the electronics. Okay, so for this thing over here, I tried a couple of things which didn't work, and you see I already scratched this piece over here. So yeah, that shows you, just be really careful with anything you're doing on the outside of the camera, because yeah, you can easily scratch it. Now, what I found is this over here. This is an, I have no clue how it's called in English, but it's used to hammer something in wood. I pinched it a bit smaller so that it fits the holes here, and yeah, you can just put it in there like that. And okay, obviously you need to hold down the lever. Yep, voila. And once it's loose, you can use like a pliers or something more to get it loose more easily. Oh, that's already it? No. Okay. So that's that. Next, this is coming off. Now, what do we have here? This is probably also gonna come off. Yeah. Okay, that's that. Again, here screws, one on the side, one on each side, and here one in the back. Okay, now getting this one loose here. For that, you need to open up the camera and find something to hold this in place. So I'm just gonna use something here. See if this will work. No, that's too thick. Watch out, there is a wavy washer over here on top, don't lose it. And we have another screw here below. I'm gonna keep it with the parts of the winding lever, the rewind lever. Alright. Okay, yeah. And there we have it. And yeah, we have quite a bit of electronics here, and you can see that it's still quite primitive and rather large, all the components. So it might be, if there is something broken or something wrong, I think it's repairable, but I am afraid that this is the culprit, and this is the chip that is going to be broken. And if it is, there is not much that I can do, except if I find another camera with the same chip which I can use to replace this one. But yeah, let's investigate further. Oh wait, watch out here. This is the shutter release button, and it's with this edge here on the outside, not on the inside. So this is what we have here now. This is the autofocus board, the PCB, with the chip that I was talking about is this one over here. You can see there are quite a bit of components on the bottom side. So you have some capacitors. I noticed some transistors probably on the bottom. This board right here is the sensor board for the autofocus. How the rangefinder mechanism and the autofocus is working, I will explain it maybe later. Here you have the viewfinder. This here is the flash board with also the indicator bulb, which indicates if the flash is ready to be fired. Then here on the front you have the both mirrors for the rangefinder and the viewfinder. I have been checking a bit here the board, and so here the red wire here is the positive of the battery. This black wire is the negative of the battery, so here you can measure your battery voltage between these two. So what you can do is everything that you can measure here is basically a reference compared to this black wire over here. Now I've been checking here these voltages, because here on this diagram over here I have some voltages mentioned, and I don't see most of them. A couple are there, but most of them they are not. So what basically is happening is the sensor board here for the autofocus requires 6 to 7 volts, and that's supplied here via these blue and white cables over here. See, those are going there to the sensor board over there. And I can't see any of these voltages. So normally when you push in the shutter button, there is a switch here in the body somewhere which should power this board over here. And then the voltage of the battery, so the 3 volts of the battery, is stepped up according to this explanation, is stepped up via a step-up transformer. But I don't know where it is. I think it's that one over there. See, there is a coil over there. Maybe that's the step-up transformer. I have no idea. But what they also say is that most of the voltages here, they should become available when you press the shutter button. But basically nothing is happening. And I'd also see, for example, here they say 3 volts with S1 closed. S1 is the shutter release button. So that's here on this pin over there. There you should get 3 volts when the shutter is closed. It's also not there. So maybe there is something down here in the body. Maybe there's something wrong with this S1 switch. No clue. It could still be the chip, of course. But I'm just gonna dig a bit further into the camera, see if I can find something, because if there is no power at all coming to this area, this step-up area, because it's not the switch that can deliver the voltage, it's not the IC that can step up the voltage, so it needs to be done over here, I guess. And if there isn't even the 3 volts supplied to this section, yeah, it might be something else than just the IC here. So I'm gonna dig a bit deeper, and that's gonna be difficult, because the next step in the disassembly is basically taking the entire lens and shutter mechanism off, and that's not an easy thing to do. And I think that the next step should be here to pry off the leatherette here in the front, because normally I think there should be a couple of screws underneath. Yeah, let's hope that I get it off decently. Now, getting it off is not a big deal. We can always glue it back, but I should be able to get it off undamaged. That's the main challenge. Yeah, there are some screws underneath. Yep, see, there are 2 screws under here. See, and there is also another one over here and one over there. So I think this is the next step, to take these off. See, there are some disassembly instructions in this thing, but they are very, very concise. So they just say here, remove 4 front blade screws. Yeah, okay. I guess those are the 4 front blade screws. See, remove wind side front leaderette, cock the shutter and raise the flash. Remove 4 front blade screws. I no idea why this step is here in between. And also this here, remove the wind finder. I also don't know what exactly they mean and why I should remove the viewfinder. So cock the shutter. And raise the flash. I have no idea why this is necessary, but this should come off. And they say here, the flash coupling lever prevents the lens shutter assembly from lifting off easily. To free the flash coupling lever, partially depress the flash as you're lifting off the lens shutter assembly. So I should do this and then partially. No. Yeah, it's loose, but it's not coming off. Oh. There it is, there it is, there it is. Okay. Okay, now I think it might, yeah, indeed. Yeah, I understand why they say you should remove the viewfinder, because probably you'd have more cable than here to manage to lift this out. But all right, so see, this is the back here. Now let's try to find here this S1 switch that we were talking about. So the S1 switch should be over there. Yeah, so this is the shutter release. Yeah, it's that guy over there. Oh, what was I doing? Yeah. See, it's that switch over there. And is it me, or is that not making contact? Yeah, see, that is completely loose, that one. See? See here? Whoa, this screw is broken. See, there is a plastic screw holding this switch, and that screw is completely broken over there. This switch is not making contact. And this is causing the entire board on top not getting any power. So that is this is not what's wrong. The chip is probably not broken. It's this switch should activate, see, like that, when you press the shutter. That's breaking right now. So if you don't press the shutter, it's breaking the power from the autofocus board, so that it obviously that the camera doesn't consume power when you're not using it. So, and if you press this switch, then the autofocus board is powered. But see, the switches here hold up via this screw, and this screw is completely broken. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but the screw is broken. Wow. Okay, let me try if I can find a solution for that. Yeah, see, so I got the switch out here. It's a leaf switch type. So see, this is the leaf. And here you can see the head of the screw. And that's the rest of the screw which is still in there. So yeah, I'm gonna try and find something here. The thing is, gluing it back is not gonna be easy because the location has to be correct. So maybe I should find this replacement screw or something. See, yeah, this is the head that just coming off. So let me see if I can find something. Okay, so the original screw is out. As you see here, see, this is the thread and this is the head of the screw. It's out. I managed to get it out. It was quite easy to get it out. So these are both sides of the blade. This is the bottom side, that's the top side, so they have to go like this. Now, obviously I'm not gonna find an exact match here. I do have quite a bit of screws, but non-plastic. Needs to be plastic because they, otherwise you'll short both sides of the switch together, obviously, if you use a metal screw. See, there is a thread here in the bottom part, but yeah, I'm not gonna find an exact match. I'm thinking about using this. This is a tip of a broken off tip of a darts arrow. I have an electronical darts board, and from time to time you have tips that break off. So this is a broken tip, and I think I might, it's quite soft, I think it might fit in here. So I'm trying to, yeah, I'm gonna try using this. Yeah, I'm trying here to use the original piece of the switch to get some thread on the dart tip. I think it's working. See, because it's coming out on this side. So yeah, I think it should work fine actually. Now let me just, here assemble the switch together correctly. Oh, they are tangled up. Should be like this. Yeah, this is gonna work. Wow. Yay, the wire broke off. On the other side here, these two, they fit comfortably in the tip, and I also see some thread appearing here on the tip of the dart tip. So that's gonna work fine. Now I just need to figure out how to solder this back. That's also gonna be fiddly. But yeah, hey, I'm repairing a camera. It's always gonna be fiddly. Okay. Now let's see if we can put this back. The advantage is that it's not, in the holder here, it's not a hole. So I could just slide it in from the top if it is nicely in place in all the parts of the switch. Just a little bit more. Alright, see here on this side, it's sticking out decently, and on that side, I think it should be fine as well. Does it fit? Does it fit? Yeah, it fits. But the okay, the blue wire is now of course a bit shorter, and it's gonna be really tight with the blue wire, but I think it's gonna work. See, it just this side of the blade here needs to be behind the actuator. See that the switch is moving as it should. Now it just need to make sure that it's in the correct position. How am I gonna do that? No idea. Yeah, the problem is now that the blue wire is a bit shorter, obviously, because it broke off and I had to resolder it. So I'm just gonna try here. First I'm gonna put a bit of super glue here on this side to make sure that my new screw is holding in place. And then I'm gonna try and make sure that it's positioned correctly and also glue it here on the top. Alright, so everything is in place. The switch is back in its place. This wire here that I resoldered, I had to redo it because yeah, it was too short to put the switch in the correct place, so I had to extend it a bit, put some heat shrink on here. That was really fiddly to do. But here the switch, and I glued it in place, and I put quite a bit of super glue. Oh, it's not completely dry yet, so maybe I'll have to wait a bit longer. But I put quite a bit of super glue here just to make sure that it's fixed in place, because obviously, I mean, the tip here, my replacement screw, it's fitting quite well in the bottom plate of the switch, but here on top, yeah, there is no way to tighten it, right? So I don't have a head of the screw, so I just put quite a bit of super glue here, and I hope it'll stay in place. And anyway, the switch is working as it should. Let me show you. So this is one blade of the switch, and that's the other one. See, no contact. And if I push it, see, there is contact. So that's working as it should now. Also, now we're in here, maybe interesting to show you. So here you have the diaphragm, and there in the bottom now, see, there you can see the flash capacitor. So if you ever care to swap the flash capacitor, yeah, I think it's not a bad idea anyway to swap it. I could swap it if I wanted, but it's a 330 volt, I think 20 microfarad or 200, I think 20. So anyway, if you want to swap out the flash capacitor, you have to take out the lens assembly just like I did right now, because this is the best place to reach it. And yeah, the only place to reach it, I think. Yeah, so I'm just gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna cut off here this protruding tip here so that it fits back, and then it's time to reassemble the camera again and see if it works. Alright, now to put this back, according to the description here, the first thing that you should do is this cam over here. There is a cam here which should, where the flash coupler should catch in. See, this one over here, you should slide it all the way to the right, so clockwise. That's the flash down position. So, see, there is a lever over here. See, there is a lever over there, and that one should catch in that hole. So the wind side first, they say. So that means that the left side should go first, and this here, this is the shutter charge slide, or shutter cocking slide, and that should be in the body first. So you need to put it in like that. Okay. And now they say, see, hold down the flash. Okay, as you see the rewind side, so that's the right side, that's this side of the lens assembly, the pin on the flashing coupling lever, so that's the one that I see over there, should go in the slot of the cam ring and push in the flash latch button to fully seat. So okay, so I'm going to now do it like this, but there's something blocking. Oh, yeah, there it is, I think. Oh, 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 oh. Is it gonna fit? Is it gonna fit? I think it fits. I think it fits. Ha! Yeah, the hardest part about working on a camera is most of the time it's assemble everything back together. Yeah, ooh, yeah, it fits. I'm gonna put the screws in now before everything falls apart again, and then we'll be back. All right, I managed to put everything correctly back together, I think. Now, what was the catch? The catch was the cam ring for the flash coupling lever. That shouldn't be all the way to the right, but it should be positioned more or less straight above the actuator for the switch over there. There is a white actuator, and you should put the cam ring just straight above it, not all the way clockwise to the right. And then it should lock, because that was the issue that I was having. It wasn't catching first. Now, how can you check if you put everything back together correctly? First, you can see if you can cock the shutter, and if you can fire. See, that's working fine. Then, if you cock the shutter and you fire, you should check if the diaphragm is opening completely with the flash down. So you fire the shutter. Yeah, here you're not gonna see it very well, but what you can do is you can point your camera towards a light source or towards a window, works the best, and then watch through the lens from the back, and then you can clearly see that the diaphragm is opening completely. See, like this. Yeah, there I think it caught on camera. There you could clearly see that it's opening all the way. And then the last test you should do is you cock the shutter. Remember, use a pliers which doesn't have any ribs here, or use something else, because if you use a ribbed pliers you will damage this shaft. Yeah, you open the flash. No batteries inside. All this is without batteries, obviously. And then you do the same thing, and then the shutter shouldn't be completely open. See? If the shutter, the diaphragm, if the diaphragm was completely open, then it means that this flash cam ring, this flash lever was not connected correctly to the cam ring. But now I think it is connected correctly, and yeah, I think I'd like to test the camera right now. This is really exciting for me because I hope it'll work now. Yeah, so let's put some batteries inside. Remember, don't activate the flash now, because everything is exposed here. Your flash capacitor is exposed. So I'm just gonna test it and try to see if I can get it working. Where is my battery door? Here, you need this, obviously. Yeah, without the bottom cover in place, the battery door doesn't hold itself, so I'm just gonna put a bit of tape. Okay, what'll happen? Let's cock the shutter again. Do I have a working camera? I have a LED. See? The LED light. So there is here the low light indicator over there is working. See? Awesome. Now let's see if it fires and if the focus is working. Okay, yeah, maybe I'm focusing here on something which is too close by. Okay, let's see. If it now focuses farther than 1 meter, I should point it like over there to the back of the workshop. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. Ah! Nice! Look! Yay! It actually works! Ah, awesome! Yeah! Okay, let's put everything back together. So yeah, assembling everything, I guess, is just working in the other way around as I did. So I already put back the shutter button, and now I am here putting back the rewind knob. But first, this screw. And the rewind knob. Don't forget the wavy washer on the bottom. I noticed something. My counter is not set to 0. Alright, so the frame counter was just a matter of positioning the wheel here correctly, lifting it out, turning it a bit, and I managed to position it correctly now. Okay, let's put the cover back on. Obviously first the shutter release button, and if you put on the flash upwards, then it's much easier to put the cover on. See, like this. I'm just gonna first do the winder here, just to make sure that everything is correctly positioned now with the frame counter. So let's do that, like this. Alright, now the screw. Okay, that's fine for now. Yeah, it's working. Frame counter is working as it should. And if I open the door, does it reset to start? Yep. Great. Okay, I'm just gonna tighten this up a bit further. Alright. Okay, next here is the rewind knob. First the screw. I can put the flash down now. First the screw. Now the rewind knob. Okay. So this one goes in the bottom. Don't forget the wavy washer here on top. And that one here on top. This is actually an easy one to put back, but because in some cameras this can be quite finicky. But this one looks like it's quite easy to put back. And same thing to tighten it, just take something to hold this and tighten it. Don't overdo it because you'll break it, because this is made out of plastic. That seems fine. Yeah, what else? I have 3 screws here. What were these 3 screws? Ah yeah, these were the 3 screws for the top cover. Okay, let's put them back. Alright, now the bottom cover. I'm not gonna glue this back. This doesn't make a lot of sense. There is a bit of foam here around this area. I don't know why. Yeah, doesn't really seem like there is any chance for a light leak over there, so really weird. So remember, there is a clip over there, and then you have 4 screws. and there was one short screw and 3 long ones. And the short screw was here. We're gonna start with that one here on the side. Oh, I forgot the the cap for the battery compartment. Yeah, the battery door compartment here is quite finicky. The spring should catch between the battery compartment door and the connection for the battery. See, it's fiddly, but okay, it works. And then we have the last 2 screws. And we're done. Yeah. Now, what else? I'm now going to test the camera, obviously. I'm going to put a roll of bulk loaded black and white film inside. Probably not a full roll, just like maybe 10 to 15 shots. And I'm gonna test the camera, and then we'll see if it is now performing like it should. Now, I'm gonna leave it at this video. There are still a couple of things that I need to do. I need to clean it up a bit. See, it's a bit sticky. Here, all the light seals need to be replaced because they are degrading quite badly. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'd like to thank you for watching. In the next video, I'll be cleaning up the camera and I'll be replacing the light seals, and also obviously we'll see if it is now really working like it should, if it is sharp and if the lighting is correct and everything. And then maybe we still need to do some adjustments. I don't think so. Normally those rangefinders, they don't really go off by themselves. But you never know. I've been inside the camera, maybe something has changed, so maybe we need to adjust something. We'll see. I do have the adjustment instructions here as well, if it would be required, but I don't think so. We'll see. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Yeah, I know it's a bit different from what I've been doing on the channel, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. It's also vintage electronics, let's say. I managed to fix something, I managed to repair something, so we have a nice result. And I promise you that I will get back to some audio gear soon. It's just that the project that I have in the queue are huge. I mean, really huge. So I do need to build a bit of confidence before I start working on them. But don't worry, I will go back to working on audio equipment soon. But first we'll need to finish this one over here. So thanks a lot. See you next time and take care. Bye bye.